Okay, so are you ready? We doing this?
Let's roll it.
Hey everybody, my name is Marisa Lindsay and I am an introvert.
My name is Dubs. I am also an introvert.
And we are here to talk about introverting in real estate. So a little bit about me. So I've been in real estate for 4 years. I was military prior to that for 17 years. I served both in the Air Force and the Army. And I kind of rolled into real estate thinking that it was going to be easy and that it would be a great way for me to have an open schedule for my kids and my family after 17 years in the military. And I was fresh off the boat. I had just moved to Colorado Springs from Alaska, did not know anybody here, and as an introvert, thought that it would be easy to do business. Well, I did do 48 sales in my first year as an introvert, but the great thing is that I was able to find all of my business on social media. That way I wasn't having to go out into the community and like interact with a lot of people because that would have been a disaster. And so, yeah, closed 48 deals with families that I had never met before until we met on social media, and went into the following year, 2021, with 25 new builds under contract. So huge success. And that's what I want to share with y'all. And here with me, I have Dubs, who has been with the team for a couple years and is my business partner. And fellow introvert.
Fellow introvert for sure. So a little bit about me. My background is not in real estate. My background is actually in sports. I grew up playing sports, was lucky enough to play in college, and then continued coaching from there. So I coached both in high school, in college, on travel teams, any situation you can think about it, great, I got it. Now, you can imagine standing in front of smart, intelligent people and their parents was a little nerve-wracking as an introvert, but whether I was a player or a coach, I never let that stop me from doing things I really cared about. So one of the strategies I took was, as a player, I wasn't the best, but I was going to work really hard, look at people who were successful, take what they do and steal it. So into coaching, same thing. Wasn't the most natural, gifted speaker, but I wanted to study people who were really good at what they did, take that for my own, and then pass it on to my team so that I could be the best coach for them. Now, once I got started working with Marisa, even though I had built up all this confidence and felt so good about my people skills, I could engage in person, working in real estate outside of my zone of competency into something new, it was like starting all over again with building my confidence and just talking to people. Talking to people through text or from behind a screen was something that intimidated me and that triggered all my introvertedness and hesitancy. So, I'm excited here because working with Marisa for 2 years, I've watched how she's able to connect with people in a real way, both through text message and through social media. And I just want to help deliver that to other people who are interested in serving others.
Yeah. And so I think that what kind of kicked all of this off, I get messages every day from other realtors who are like, how did you do this? How were you able to get all of that business? And so rather than respond to each of those messages, because they would come in all of the time, and I get it, real estate is really hard. And typically when people come into the business, the first thing that they're taught is, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to host open houses, you're going to door knock, and here's a list of people, go ahead and call them. And nobody wants to do that. I feel like it's a very invasive way of being in real estate because you're entering people's personal space or you're entering their personal time through cold calling, door knocking, etc. And it's very uncomfortable for anyone to do that, especially if you're an introvert. And I did it. I wanted no part of that. To me, it felt salesy. And that was one of my biggest fears coming into real estate, is not appearing salesy to the people that I was serving. What I wanted to do is lead with value and hope that with that value offer, people would come to me and want to use my services. And so what I would do then is create these social media communities and build these communities online. And then I would provide value through the communities, and then people would reach out to me asking me to help them with their home buying, home selling, whatever it was.
Yeah. Now, I'm pretty lucky. When I first got started, I been working with you, which is that approach of really connecting with people, leading with value. But I'm sure you have stories from when you first started, or maybe just from people in the business, of like some insane quantity door knocking expectations. Does anything just jump up that you're like,
Well, I never experienced that myself
oh,
ever.
nice.
I just went
You
right
said,
into
no,
exactly
I'm
what
not
I was
gonna.
going to do. But
Nice.
I got started February 1st of 2020, but I started my groups about 6 months prior to that. So by the time February 1st rolled around, I already had 80 people ready for me to call them and get them started with their home search. And these were people that were relocating to Colorado Springs. So I had not met them in person, but they were like, hey, we'll be there next spring. Let's get started. And I'm like, okay, great. Can we get started February 1st? And so I had this long list of people that were waiting for me. So I avoided, having to do the calls. But I hear it all the time
Yeah.
where, certain teams, the expectation is that they come into the office and they cold call between like 8 and 12, and they have this long list of people, and they get hung up on, sweared at, all kinds of things. But I understand, because if I don't like cold calls, and I really don't like cold texts. I get cold texts sometimes from companies, and I just find them annoying, and there's no relationship there. Like,
Right.
there's no like, hey, let's build a relationship and then let's talk about your health insurance needs or whatever the cold calls are about.
Right.
And so to me, that just feels very invasive. And so this is just another way to then take a relationship approach where you are not looking for a sale. You are only looking to help people in these communities that you build online. And then through that, if they find value in what you're saying, and if they're your people, they do automatically want to reach out and ask for help in whatever it is that they need with real estate.
Yeah. I think that's really genuine way of moving forward and providing value, because these days it feels like it's all just, okay, let's have this strategy, do this approach, because the end game is sales. But what I like about your approach, it's like value first, build the honeypot of like good stuff, and then they come to you.
Right.
For me, like if I'm thinking as a customer, I don't want to be attacked. I don't want to be bothered. I want to have somebody I already see as a real, genuine person and move towards them. So I think you've done a great job of creating that online, honestly. And I know, you've shared with me in the past your story of why it matters so much for you. And that story is what really has attracted me to working with you, of when you had to buy your house sight unseen, and then how you never wanted another military family specifically to ever have that same experience.
Yeah. You want me to tell the story?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Tell
that would
the
be good.
story.
I think it's one of my it's why I like working with you. So yeah, let's.
So listen to this. So here, my husband and I, it's our first home purchase, right? So we're actually living in Colorado Springs, and we're about to move to Alaska, which was like our dream place. So we're being stationed in Alaska, and we find this adorable, like ski chalet looking home on an acre in the mountains of Chugiak, and with these amazing views. And we are so excited about this house. So excited. And we buy it sight unseen. So we sign the paperwork from out of state. And then we're traveling with our kids, all the way to Alaska. Mind you, all of our kids are under the age of 5. And oh, by the way, we have 4 of them. And our youngest at the time was 6 months old. And this is like in the dead of winter. So it's February. I don't know if anybody's been to Alaska in February, but it is not warm. It's very, very cold and snowy. And so I think it took us like 10 days to go from the Springs to Alaska. So when we got there, we got to our house. The key was under the doormat. We never heard from our realtor. We go into the house. The house is a disaster. And we had to spend the next like 3 days cleaning the house. And it just took the excitement out of our first home purchase. And I felt uncared for. And I didn't understand why, if it's someone's job to sell me a house, why not take the extra step or a couple extra steps to make sure the house is clean, to like greet us when we get there? Like, this is such an exciting time for my family. It's our first time buying a house. It's a huge step in anybody's life. And I was just sad. It just took away from our experience.
Yeah.
So I'm like, any other military families that I serve, like, they will never feel that way. And we always take the additional steps to make sure that we see people.
Yeah.
But it's easier for me to do, though, because the relationships that I create through my social media groups, like, they do really feel like they know me. And by the time we start working together, the client and myself, we have this huge connection. And so it's great, because somebody was saying, well, isn't it hard then when you do meet them in person? Do you feel that introverted self?
Right.
And I don't, because we've already skipped the part that I hate, which is the small talk, that just uncomfortable awkwardness at the beginning where I'm not really sure what to say. I don't know who they are. I haven't felt them out. But by this point in time, we have a genuine relationship, and I'm more than happy to engage and,
Right.
show them homes and figure out exactly what their needs are and spend that time. So, yeah, that's my story. And that kind of shaped who I am as a realtor. And then, of course, the social media on top of that is just really intent on relationship building and making sure that people feel seen and heard.
Right. And I think that's something you really have to offer all kinds of different introverts, because I'm introverted differently than you are.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I feel comfortable in front of somebody when I can talk to them, I can see their feedback, I can establish, hey, here are the ground rules, here's where we're going. Oh, I like you. This engagement is exciting to me. Or, oh, you're not going to be real with me. Let's go ahead and move along. But transitioning into social media, I am scared from working behind a screen and just putting stuff out there. Oh, it makes me nervous because I don't have that feedback. I think the thing I'm most scared of is just like crickets, the silence. And it's super intimidating, but I think there are other people out there, and we met some of them last night in the class that we did or that you put on. And I am so interested to see how your approach in social media offers different kind of introverts ways to connect in that genuine way. Like you were saying, building that trust through groups.
Right.
Behind the text, behind the screen.
Yeah, so last night we did hold a course. It was our first ever Real Estate for Introverts course. We had 20 agents there, and we got to hear their stories and why they were there and what they were looking for. And that's the great thing, is that not all introverts are the same. Like, I can turn it on when I have to turn it on. I can act extroverted, but it's going to drain all of my energy out of me.
Yeah.
But then there are introverts who are just incredibly shy and haven't learned how to turn on that extrovertedness. I'm telling you, like, social media groups is the way to go for you, especially people who are so shy that they can't put themselves out there. Like, if I push myself hard enough, I'll do it, but I'll hate every second of it. But I'll do it, but I'll hate it. So we had this class last night, and we got to meet all kinds of people. So we have Lisa, who's out of Maryland, and she's just, I love this girl. But she was talking about how she is introverted, but she is a community builder. I feel that. And she has actually, because I've been coaching her for a few weeks, she has already started a group in her community. And it's already grown to, I know it's over 700 people at this point. So she's expanding her footprint quickly. And then we had Rhonda, and she said that she was extroverted, but when she gets behind, kind of like you, behind a screen and is going to make posts, she's not sure what to say. She's not sure how people are going to say it. And so that's what this course is for. It's designed to figure out who you are as a person. And then let's take that, find your strengths and grow into those strengths. But we don't have to do the same old, tired, outdated way of real estate. This does not include door knocking. It does not include cold calling. This is amplifying people's strengths on social media.
That's one of the things I really like about your system, because I've watched you do it, and it's so easy to say, oh, it's Marisa, she's a star, she's successful, success sells. But I've seen you replicate it. I've seen you replicate it with agents who are maybe more emotional, maybe less emotional, women who have done different types of business, women who are moms, men who are into sports, military people. Like, being able to see it replicated over different personalities has been what's really impressive to me. So it's interesting to watch it happen on a scale of the class,
Right.
and happen faster, which is exciting to me because it allows those people to really offer what they have for value and get out there. And one of the things you talked about as we, get out there is expanding their footprint and how important that is.
So think about it. So I created a group in Virginia last week, and as of this morning, it has like 90 something people in it. So imagine growing your sphere, your circle, by 90 people. So some people might look at that and say, well, that's not a lot, but I don't have 90 friends. I have like 3 friends, and I don't know a lot of people, but those are 90 people who had no idea who I was until they joined the group, and now I know who they are. And that's what it's all about, because at the end of the day, you can be the best real estate agent in the world. You can have the best negotiating skills. You can be a hard charger, the best showing agent, have the best equipment for video showings. You can have all of these things, but if nobody knows who you are, like, what's the point? There's no point. You have to get out there and sell yourself. And if you can't do that one-on-one, if you don't have that kind of energy to go out to all of these events and to meet all of these people and engage with everybody at your kids' sports events, and like, I wouldn't be good at that.
Yeah.
But this is a way to expand that social network without having to leave your house. Like, it's like magic. I call it my magic feather.
The magic feather for introverts.
Yes.
Great. Oh man. Yeah, no, I think it's great because when you talk about like an introverted approach versus an extroverted approach, not everybody wants to, on their trip to the grocery store, feel like they have to go around introducing themselves to people. They can have their time, go to the grocery store, and be providing value to their community from that group.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing.
So that's the way that we've done things. That's what we're here to talk about on this podcast, is how to really use social media to your benefit. But you can't look at it like, hey, I'm here to sell. If that is your focus, if that's your intent, it's not going to work. People see right through it. Your intent has to be relationships. How many people can you build relationship with that have the same hobbies, likes, all of those things?
Sure.
Build relationship with those people, and then through that, maybe they will come around and they'll ask you about, getting help in real estate. But I mean, you have to also be okay with that not ever happening. But at that point, you still have all these beautiful relationships that you were able to create, and that, lives that you were able to pour into through value.
Yeah.
So that is our podcast for today. If any of this resonated with you, if you are tired of the same old with cold calling and door knocking, and you want to try something different, not just through Facebook, but through any medium, because you don't just have to use Facebook through this to be successful. You can use any social media platform. So if any of this resonated with you, check out our Facebook group. It's called Real Estate for Introverts. I created it back in August, and there's already almost 4,000 people in it. So there's a heck of a lot more introverts out there than I had thought. I thought I would be talking to myself for a while and maybe grow it to, 200, maybe 300, but it's exploded. But we talk on there all the time about these steps, how to perform these steps, and how to pour into people and build genuine, authentic relationships in order to grow your business. So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you being here for podcast number 1.
Podcast 1. Hey,
here we go.
There we go. Next week?
Next week.
Let's do it.